All righty. So, good morning. This is Mrs. Oliver. I'm talking for our whole math team of Miss Earl, Mrs. Chubb, Mr. Callen. So, today we will be adding and subtracting positive and negative decimals. You see a couple where you have some subtraction, we have some addition. Remember, those subtraction, we are going to have to add the opposite to make them positive. All right, so we've already learned to add and subtract both positive and negative integers, fractions, and mixed numbers. And it's pretty much going to be the same rules. We just have a couple additional steps we might have to do. Okay, future use. We are going to use decimals for 1 and 2 step equations and even multi-step equations with positive and negative rational numbers for when you get to 8th grade algebra and beyond. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to do the first 3 problems and then have you work on the rest of them so that you can check your work and see how well you're doing. Okay, so to add and subtract decimals, we must line up decimal points. Right, and when we line up our decimal points, we're going to put the larger absolute value decimal on top. So which decimal is going to be farther away from 0? Okay, so with signed decimals, we follow the rules for integers. The same things, same signs, add and keep, different signs subtract, but keep the sign of your higher value. So let's look at examples number 1. Okay, we have 5 and 600ths, or 5 and 6700ths, plus a negative 3 and negative 35 hundredths. Okay, my 5 and 6700ths would be more up at the top, and then my negative 35 hundredths is really close to the 0. Okay, now if I was to model this, I would be going up for my 5 and 67 hundredths, and then I would go down less than 1. So we can see our answer is going to end up as a positive, just with a little type of a model. Plus, I can see which one's my higher value. Okay, so if this is my higher value, that means that one's going on top when we add or subtract, and it also means if we are subtracting, I know to keep my positive sign. Okay, so let's line them up. I have 5 and 67 hundredths, and they are different signs, so I have to subtract. So let's go through, and we've got the 12, and then another. So we got 6 and 200ths, and remember it is a positive because of my higher value. Okay, all right, let's look at number 2. It's subtraction, so we have to add our opposites. Keep the first one you're saying. We're going to change to addition. And then what's the opposite of a positive? A negative. Okay, so these are same signs, so we have to add and keep them. Okay, so let's line it up with the largest value on top, which is 8 and 47 hundredths. And because they're the same signs, we are adding. All right, now we can add them up. Number 9, number 12. And the reason why we line up those decimals, I know exactly where my decimal is going to go every time. And then 14, 15, and because they are both negative, decreasing twice, we get a negative 15 and 29 hundredths. All right, number 3, it's already in addition form, so I do not need to add the opposite. So I can go ahead and line them up with my largest value. 9 is farther from 0 than less than 1. So I put my 9 and 56 hundredths on top. And then this is why we line up our decimals. Not all our decimals are written in the same place value. So I have to add a 0 there. You should hopefully remember that from last year. If not, at least now you got to know it. So now I can add because they are the same signs. I know exactly where my decimal is going to go. And then We got a 10, so a negative 10 and 1600. Okay. So I highly suggest going ahead, pausing your video, and then checking the answers from the rest of them that I'm going to post. Okay. So let's go ahead and scroll down some. Here's how I solved 4 through 6. Okay, if you notice, we had to add the opposite for number 4, number 5, and number 6. We had to actually add the opposite on all of those. Then follow, are we going to actually add or subtract? Well, we had different signs, we subtract, different signs, we subtract, different signs, we subtract. Your next 3, if you need to, pause the video to copy those down or correct your mistakes. Okay, we had to add the opposite for 7, and then they were same signs, add and keep. Number 8, it's already addition, so you just need to line up your decimals and then do a little bit of regrouping. And then the largest value was our 3, which is a positive, so my answer is a positive. Number 9, okay, here you had addition of 2 negatives, so same signs, add and keep. And you had to add a 0 on top of that 3. Then you got a negative 34 and 3 hundredths. Okay. So here is our maze that we're going to start. Same theory, you're still going to line up your decimal. You're going to have 12 of these that you do. And if you notice, I already did 2, so you only have 10 left to do. All right, so make sure you line up your decimals. If it's subtraction, you have to add your opposite, and then make sure you follow the rules so you know if you have a negative or positive answer. Okay. Then if there is extra time and you feel like doing the extra, right, we have where I had to solve my problems using lining up the decimals and same signs I keep for different signs subtract. Then you look for the answer across, right? And then you take those 2 black dots and connect them with a straight line. So if you notice for number 1, I went through 4 and H. So it means down here at number 4, I put the letter H. Remember, subtraction problems, you have to add your opposite. So now I have 5 and 9/10 plus a positive 1 and 1/3 to get 7 and 2/10. And when I make my line, I go through 17 and E. So E is at the bottom. All right. I hope you guys had a great day. If you have any questions, email your teacher. Have a great day.